Hi, Mike Safe here with World Class Coaching, and in this video I'm going to give my opinion on diving, cheating, what I call cheating because it is cheating, and why and how it's ruining the game. And I'm also going to give you a simple solution that could be enacted overnight that would wipe it totally from the game. There would be no more diving, and it is so simple you won't believe it. But first, let's talk a little bit about diving. What is diving? Diving is when a player tries to cheat by gaining an advantage. A player tries to pretend he's being fouled when he hasn't, when he rolls over. A player tries to pretend that he's being hit in the face when he hasn't. A player tries to pretend he's being tripped and he hasn't. Basically, he's trying to con the referee, he's trying to trick the referee into giving him a foul for something that is not really a foul. Now, that's diving. To me, that is also called cheating. You're trying to get an advantage by cheating. Now, in any other sport, you try and gain an advantage by cheating, there's severe penalties. Track and field, for example, you trying to gain an advantage by taking performance-enhancing drugs, steroids or something. You're banned for 2 years. Try and cheat in golf, or you're caught cheating in golf and you're kicked out of the game. And it's the same in a lot of sports, but for some reason in the professional football game, soccer game, diving and cheating is, you're caught cheating, nothing happens. You can even get things happen in your favour, like you get a penalty kick. And the video review afterwards, just slow motion replay, shows that it was a dive and shows that you cheated, but nothing happens to you. It is so strange. Now, let's just take a look at this. This is an example from the 2010 World Cup. This is when an Ivory Coast player got Kaká from Brazil sent off. It was right near the end of the game, but take a look at this.
And ultimately a red one. Well, what do we make of this?
This is just ridiculous. I mean, what we'll say is have a look at the referee's positioning when it actually happens, right? So his eyes are on the ball there. He's still on the ball, so he can't even see to his left, where apparently it doesn't even look once, so he can't see that.
He hasn't
seen it at all.
His hand.
But Keita, he just lifts his arm a little bit, and Keita goes down holding his face, which is an absolute disgrace.
No, I mean, what he's doing is he can see at the corner of his eye that the player has come towards him, and he's just making sure that he's
protecting himself, protecting his body and everything.
Exactly.
I think Kaká doesn't do anything at all.
No.
Keita.
Okay, so that is a blatant example of somebody cheating. Nothing happened to that Ivory Coast player. Brazil had a player sent off. Now, it was right at the end of the game, so it wasn't an issue, but it could have been in the first minute of the game or the first 10 minutes of the game. Could have been an issue. Kaká was suspended, he couldn't play in the next game. Or maybe the next 2 games, I don't remember. So it does have an effect, and that was just blatant cheating. So, and it was 2010 that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Watching that World Cup, it was embarrassing. It was painful watching every game. There was diving and cheating, players rolling over, pretending they'd been tripped and they hadn't. It was just embarrassing. And I, talk to a lot of people who, they're not football fans, they're not soccer fans. I live in America, so there's plenty of those around. And they're watching the World Cup for the first time, and they're asking me, what's all this diving and rolling over business? And it was embarrassing for me to try and answer that. Well, it took the shine off it, and I've watched far less of the professional game since then. And I'm just waiting for the diving to get over so I can get back into it. But anyway, here's another example of some blatant dives. Just take a look at these. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the best players in the world doing it. We've got Neymar, we've got Gareth Bale, we've got Ronaldo. They're all doing it. And it's cheating. That's all it is. It is definitely cheating. Whichever way you want to look at it, it is cheating. Now let's look at this. Well, I'll tell you what, first of all, let's take the referees out of this. I don't blame the referees at all. The referees have a tough job. They're watching a game played at a heck of a speed with 22 players. Challenges all over the place. It's hard enough to try and figure out if a player was fouled or not sometimes. But trying to figure out if a player was fouled or not when the player is purposely trying to trick you and cheat you and make out that he's fouled when he hasn't, you can't blame referees for that. You can't expect them to get it right every time. So I take referees out of this. But let's look at this from the point of view of the fans, the players and the managers and the coaches. Okay, so your team, let's say Manchester United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, whatever, you're playing a big game, quarter-final of the Champions League, let's say. Last 5 minutes, player from the other team takes a dive in the penalty area, referee gives a penalty kick, they score the goal, you're out. How do you feel about that? What happens? Well, fans will moan and groan, they'll complain about it, players will do the same, the manager will go on TV and get interviewed, and he'll say the referee did a bad job, the other team cheats, the player cheated, he took a dive, it was, you know, he will say all that. But to me, that is all hypocritical. Why? Well, because by not speaking out about it, basically you're condoning it. Not only that, let's be honest, your team does it as well, your players do it as well. So whether you're a fan or a manager, you're okay with your players doing it. If your player takes a dive in the last 5 minutes and you win the game and you move on to the semi-final, you're okay with that. That's no big deal. You don't complain. So it's very hypocritical to complain at another player for diving and cheating when it's okay with you and your team does it and your players do it. Now, one way it could be wiped out, now this will never happen, is for managers to tell their teams and say, okay, all you players, stop diving, stop cheating, we're not going to have it on my team. If you're caught diving, you're benched, you're not going to play. That would stop it overnight. But it's never going to happen, like I said. But here's the deal. Now, if you go out and play and another team player takes a dive and you lose on a penalty kick from a player diving, then yeah, the manager can go on there and say, look, my players don't do that. What he did there is cheating, something should be done about it, then yeah, he's got that, but that doesn't happen. So it's very hypocritical of people to complain about losing games because players have dived. So, anyway, there's a simple solution to this, and I'm going to give you the solution, and it is so simple. But before I get into that, let's just look at one solution which I don't like, and that is video replay during the game. I don't think that can work in football. Football's a free-flowing game, and having to stop the game to decide whether a player dived or not, and whether to give a penalty, and you've got to look in a video replay, and you've got to stop, that could take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And if that happens 2 or 3 times, that's just not good. So my solution wouldn't need that anyway. You wouldn't need that. And my solution is to copy the model of the NFL, the National Football League, American football. Here's what they do. Their games are played, and then after every weekend of games, the video or the games are reviewed by a panel, or panels, if there's more than one. And here's what happens. They'll view every play. And if they see a player do a nasty foul, a dangerous foul that, you know, maybe hurt somebody or could hurt a player, even if that is not picked up in the game and penalised in the game, if the referees in the game don't see that, if the panel see it, they're going to fine that player. You did a dangerous hit on that guy, you're fined $50,000, $100,000, whatever it is. I think they even go as far as banning them, suspending them for a game or more. Now, another example is even if the referee does see it, so let's say a player does a dangerous helmet-to-helmet hit, the team is penalised in the game, great. When they review that afterwards, if they review that as blatant and really dangerous, and maybe intentional even, then they fine that player. So even if you can sneakily get away without the referee seeing it, you're going to be everything is looked at. You can't get away from the video replay of what the panel is going to look at. You can't get away from the review of the game afterwards. There's so many cameras, so many different angles. So, anyway, I would do that exactly the same with the professional game. All the games are videotaped, so there's no issue with that. And basically, you have a panel and you can have different perspectives, because on that panel you could have ex-referees, ex-players, ex-coaches, and you could have those on the panel. They look at it, and if they figure that a player has dived, purposely trying to cheat the referee when there wasn't really any contact, then that player gets fined. In fact, I would go as far as this. I would skip the fining level. I would go straight to suspension. You're suspended for 3 games. You over-exaggerated that it wasn't really a foul, or you barely got touched and you're trying to get a foul when you shouldn't. That's cheating. You're suspended for 3 games, no pay. That would put an end to it right away. And I would even take it to the next level. I would deduct points from teams. So you have a certain threshold. If a player does it X number of times, you lose points. And it would be like red and yellow cards, so you would accumulate. So if you have 3 or 4 instances in your team, or whatever that threshold is, during the season, then right, next time it happens, you lose points. That would stop it overnight. Players wouldn't want to get suspended without pay for diving. And plus they'd be embarrassed by it, hopefully. Teams wouldn't want to do without players. If Ronaldo gets suspended for 3 games for a dive, and they've got a quarter-final of the Champions League game coming up, and they've got no Ronaldo, that's no good. So they don't want that to happen. So they're going to tell Ronaldo, stop diving. The teams don't want it to happen. They don't want to lose points. You lose points, it could take you out of Europe. Could get you relegated. So everybody involved has an incentive to stop that diving. It's really simple, and it's not something that you can get away with, because it's not the referee in the game, it's the panel that's reviewing it afterwards that's making that decision. That would stop it overnight. Nobody wants to lose points, nobody wants to get suspended. That would stop it overnight. So let's just recap. Diving is ruining the game, in my opinion. Diving is also cheating. It definitely is cheating, whichever way you want to look at it. That's what I think. I really believe that. And there's a simple solution that could be enacted overnight, wouldn't cost hardly any money, and it would stop the diving instantly, in my opinion. So that's what I think. Let me know what you think. I'm sure there's lots of thoughts out there about diving. Is it cheating? Is it bad for the game? I'm sure there's lots of opinions on that. I'm sure there's lots of opinions on how to control it, how to put a stop to it. Do we have video replaying games? Is there other options to do other than fining players and suspending players and deducting points off teams? I'm sure there's lots of other good ideas out there, but they're my ideas. Comment below, let's get talking about this, let's see what we can come up with.